When an app works flawlessly, the user rarely notices the mechanics. They experience fluid keyboard navigation, forms that glide into view, and a layout that snaps into perfect alignment, even when rapidly rotating the device. Today, we will build that exact experience, a professional, scrollable, and fully responsive sign-in page from scratch using Basic for Android and B4X pages. The source code for this project includes ELI 15 comments, shorthand for Explain Like I'm 15. These translate the programming logic into simple, readable instructions you can follow step by step. Mastering this login module gives you a reusable, robust template that establishes a professional standard for every screen you build afterward. We begin in the B4A IDE environment. Inside the Class Global section, we declare the foundational variables that the entire page relies on to function, specifically the root and page scroll variables. The root variable acts as the master, top-level panel. Every visual element we build will sit directly on top of this panel. Next, the initialize subroutine acts as an internal registration system. It returns this specific page instance to B4X pages, so the app can manage and display the screen. From there, we move to the B4X page created subroutine. Here, we initialize our scroll container and attach it directly to the root panel. This diagram illustrates why a login form requires a scrollable layout. When a user taps to type, a virtual keyboard eclipses the lower screen. A fixed layout leaves buttons permanently hidden, but a scrollable container lets users slide obscured fields into the active viewport. Inside our code, the build form subroutine handles this layout. It stacks our UI controls from top to bottom by tracking a specific Y coordinate position. The mathematical logic here sets the starting Y coordinate at 12% of the root height. This ensures the content starts at a consistent distance from the top of the screen, regardless of the device's physical size. This mathematically spaced, scrollable foundation provides a predictable environment that handles native UI interruptions without requiring manual adjustments for every screen size. Device rotation presents a second structural challenge. Flipping a phone on its side changes the mathematical boundaries of the screen. If a developer forgets to pass these new dimensions to the scroll container, the UI elements will often clip off the edge of the display or appear off-center. The B4X page_resize event is the system trigger that fires the moment a screen dimension changes. We pass the updated width and height variables directly into the base_resize method. This forces the scroll container to recalculate and adapt immediately. By hooking into these system resize events, you ensure the layout remains stable even as the user changes their device orientation. To make a form feel intuitive, a user should never have to manually tap the screen to move from one text field to the next. We use the B4X page.appear event to handle this. It allows the application to automatically snap focus to the email text box as soon as the screen loads. The enter pressed event handles the transition. When the user finishes their email and hits enter, the keystroke programmatically shifts focus to the password field. Chaining that logic allows the enter key to move the cursor directly to the continue button. Finally, we write the logic for the submit button click event. A Boolean check called txtemail.validate runs first. This confirms the input meets our requirements before the app attempts a simulated sign-in. If validation fails, the code halts the process and returns the focus to the email box, allowing the user to correct the error immediately. If the user needs to create a new profile, the Register button uses B4X Page's Show Page to load the user type selection screen. Anticipating user intent and programmatically guiding these inputs reduces the friction of the initial sign-in process. By combining the B4X page resize trigger, the scroll container, and sequential enter pressed events, you have created an unbreakable layout. You now have a fully functional, responsive login template ready to be integrated into any B4A project. You can download the source code text file from the resources and use the ELI 15 comments to trace the logic or modify the structure for your own needs. Building this initial module ensures your application starts on a stable architectural foundation that you can now replicate across every other form in your project.